It just is napping, so I came out in the cold just to talk to you guys about this. So when I talk about things like I talked about in today's post, I always get one or two questions which are completely valid, and I want to help break this down here. And those two questions are, one, shouldn't you also lift when you're in an energy deficit, or can't you lift and diet at the same time? And then the second one is, why the heck are Apple Watches or Fitbits or any sort of fitness trackers really bad at assessing our caloric expenditure, and what do we do otherwise? So first, you can and should lift in a calorie deficit. So today's post is implying that the purpose of lifting, though, is not to expend calories. So even if you're eating in a calorie deficit, you choose to do intentional dieting, or you're bodybuilding, or you're trying to lean out, or whatever it is, if you are trying to support and maintain muscle mass, you should still be lifting to do so. And hopefully, as long as you're not crash dieting, you're manipulating your energy intake in a way that still favors muscle preservation. So keeping your protein intake high, prioritizing carbs during your workouts, things like that. These things aren't mutually exclusive. You don't go on diets or calorie deficits and stop lifting altogether, just like you don't only lift when you're bulking or trying to add mass. They should always be happening together while still doing the same boring shit we tell you to do, no matter what your intake is, whether you track calories or not. Now, two, why are fitness trackers so bad at assessing our freaking lifting expenditure? Now, I will say fitness trackers are okay at assessing expenditure for maybe steady state, straight cardiovascular activities. And it has to do because they're using heart rate to guesstimate your calorie expenditure. And your heart rate generally increases linearly with aerobic activity. So if I was to have you do a ramped or a steady state exercise test, your heart rate would kind of increase linearly with that. And that's reflective of your energy output, things like that, blah, blah, blah. But when you're lifting, if you guys notice this, your heart rate monitors generally, like, your heart rate will go up to some degree with lifting, but if you're doing a heavy set of back squats, your heart rate's not going to look like it's going to if you're doing a 10-mile run. It's just different, right? But what this misses during lifting, and then misses in all the other parts of our day that are outside of our workouts, is that when you're lifting, you're using different energy systems and you have different demands that are occurring in your body. So you're breaking down muscle tissue, and it's not really accounting for or being able to assess that. Now, your heart rate might elevate, increase like slightly during recovery, and this is why we take rest days and things like that, but it's not accounting for like these basically aerobic energy system things that are stimulating heart rate. Heart rate can be variable, and in weight training in general can even be inflated just from stress or anticipation or bracing, breathing, blood pressure changes, things like that. And then in general, it's missing all of the metabolism that's occurring in response to your weight training session. So in that moment, it might look like you're expending less, but you're actually doing a whole bunch of other shit outside of that. Now, when we look at it in general and just we look at this tiny bit of our workout in the moment, it misses everything that our body does the rest of the day. So what we burn in our workout doesn't necessarily mean that that's an extra calories that we're expending the rest of the day. Our body might account for that elsewhere. This is really frustrating because you're like, Lyss, then what do I do? How do I account for this? How do I blah, 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 blah? And the best thing that you can honestly do is just ignore those calories altogether, because they can be super variable. And honestly, the things you're focusing on to adapt in most of your fitness goals in general aren't going to be based off calorie expenditure, and or if you're just improving your work capacity, you're improving your fitness overall, whether it's cardiovascularly or resistance training wise, you're improving your body's ability to basically use energy more efficiently. So you're actually improving your metabolism, so you're making yourself more efficient regardless. So the best thing you can do is to just ignore it. Or two, if you do choose to track calories, is find a level of maintenance where your body's at and assume that is your maintenance level calories. Of course, it's going to be variable day to day, and then add or decrease from there if you choose to do that. If not, just eat what supports your body and go from there. That's the answer. I know, it's not sexy.